Throughout our history, the search for knowledge has always been hampered by those who want things to stay the way they are. For some, change represents a threat to their tenuous hold on power, and their attempt to somehow promote themselves as better and smarter than the rest of us. For others, change simply represents the need to adjust and learn something new and different. But regardless of why, resistance to change is as constant as change itself, especially when it comes to physics and the physics community as a whole. Still, when a new truth comes into focus, there are those who embrace the potential for change and dedicate themselves to proving the truth one way or the other. This video is dedicated to you, to those of you who are unafraid to dream, to those of you who seek truth instead of simply accepting the illusion created by the way it has always been. There was a time when science taught us that the world was flat, and that if you explored too far across the uncharted oceans, you would simply fall off the edge of the world. Spatial relativity theory predicts that there will come a time when the very concept of a singularity will be viewed with the same level of disbelief regarding the gullibility of those who desperately cling to it, or to the concept that physical matter can be divided to infinity. SRT predicts that there was no singularity at the beginning of the physical universe, and there is no singularity at the center of a black hole. SRT also predicts that there is a limit to how small a particle of physical matter can be. We now know that empty space is not empty at all. There is an energy component contained within a cubic meter volume of empty space. This energy component is not configured the same as physical matter. However, SRT predicts that both spatial energy and physical matter are comprised of the same basic components of energy, and that the only difference in the two is the configuration with which they are held together. The contact points between each intrinsic spirit create resonance energy connections, or contact bonds, which are created as a result of the resonance interaction between the spirits themselves. Each individual component of spatial energy is spherical in shape and continuously vibrating. SRT has named an individual component of spatial energy a spheric because they are spherical in shape and energetic in nature. The reason the spherics are configured in a 90-degree configuration is simply because it is natural for them to do so. Both their spherical shape and their 90-degree configuration to each other are the most simplistic possibilities, and the natural order of things in regard to both spatial energy and the physical universe always begins with whatever is the simplest potential possible. The relationship between spatial energy and physical matter is easy to understand. SRT predicts that if 4 individual spherics shift to a 60-degree configuration, then they will instantly create the smallest possible particle of physical matter called the elemental particle. The 60-degree configuration of the elemental particle creates the first 3-dimensional representation of physical matter, and it is in the shape of an equilateral tetrahedron. This conversion from the 90-degree configuration of spatial energy into the 60-degree configuration of physical matter is the basis of SRT's prediction that all the physical universe did not come from a single, infinitely small particle of physical matter called the singularity. Instead, SRT predicts that the physical universe itself has been assembled from intrinsic elemental particles, which are themselves comprised of the same spatial energy components that make up space itself. There are those that claim that there is no limit to how small a particle of physical matter can be, and that an assembly process is not a requirement regarding the physical universe as we know it. In other words, that the physical universe is a result of chance. However, common sense tells us that if this were true, then our part of the universe, the Earth, Moon, our Sun, the solar system, and even our galaxy, would be different when compared to other parts of the physical universe which would have developed intrinsically as well. In other words, when we look across the vastness of the universe 100 million light-years in one direction, or 1 billion light-years in another, we should see some kind of intrinsic physical development. But the direct opposite is true. If the physical universe were a matter of chance, then those areas that developed billions of light-years from us, completely independent and intrinsic to themselves, would somehow be different. But even if we look in 10,000 different directions for as far as we can see with our most powerful telescopes, all the laws of physics as we know them are exactly the same. There is an assembly process at work, and the solution to where the physical universe came from does not lie within the magic math of a singularity or the ability to divide physical matter to infinity. In Part 2, Spatial Relativity Theory predicts the solution to a number of questions facing modern physics, including what gravitational effect is and how it functions at the quantum level. However, it is necessary to understand the basic foundation of SRT in order to move forward. If you have an interest in learning more about SRT, just send us an email to inventorhawaii@gmail.com. And upon your request, we will be glad to forward to you some additional more detailed information. And now, as a synopsis of what we have learned, we present for your consideration the poem Cecil the Spirit. Cecil the Spirit was searching for sex. He'd done spatial energy, and he wondered, what's next? To become physical matter, now that's what it would be. But in order to do that, he would have to find three virgin spherics to join in the game for a chance to be physical with fortune and fame. But where would he find them, he thought to himself. He could look in a corner or on top of a shelf, but nothing existed except spatial energy itself. The answer was obvious when finally it came. He would find the three virgins when he found the Big Bang. But the Big Bang is BS. It's so easy to see. There was no single, infinitely small particle called singularity. Instead, there was only the energy of space, the energy of nothingness that makes up every place. Still, a funny thing happened when those four became one. Four more became one too. And then those two became three, as four more were set free. And then all hell broke loose. That's the cascade leading to what we know as the Big Bang. Cecil the Spheric is searching for sex in a far distant future called humanity. But in order to get there, evolution is next. And that's another story. SRT's predictions provide solutions for what gravity is and how it functions at the quantum level, what black hole evaporation is, why a singularity does not exist at the beginning of the universe or at the center of a black hole, the specific mass of the elemental particle, the specific shape of the elemental particle, how the physical universe is assembled from elemental particles, why charged particle attraction is not the reason that atomic structures are held together and function the way they do, how a particle of light accelerates to the speed of light and can maintain the speed of light over billions of light years. And SRT predicts a simple supercomputer experiment calculation that can prove its predictions to be correct. All the numbers are very, very specific. This is not string theory. It's a simple supercomputer experiment calculation. We deserve a chance to prove the truth, one way or the other, and we are asking the NCSA to please help us do so.